Today we're going to look at some of the most common reasons why your vehicle's AC might not be working properly. Your car's air conditioning unit has several components that need to function together to deliver cool air into the cabin. If even just one of them fails, you'll experience things like your air not being cold, weak or inconsistent airflow, no airflow at all, or even unpleasant smells coming from the vents. All right, let's go through how to check for some of these issues. First up, when your air blows but it's not cold. This is one of the most common AC problems, when your air is blowing through the vents but it's not cold. This can be for a few reasons. One being your compressor is not engaging. If you have airflow but the temperature isn't dropping, the first thing you should check is whether the compressor is actually turning on. This is actually pretty easy to spot because you can both see and hear the AC clutch engage when it's activating the compressor. If it never kicks on, that's likely the issue. On the other hand, if the compressor is running constantly without shutting off, that can also signal something in the AC system that isn't operating correctly. Another very common reason for not blowing cold air, low refrigerant, which a lot of times means there's often a leak. You've got a few ways to track this down. One, you can use an AC leak detector to sense escaping refrigerant vapors. You can also add refrigerant with UV dye, then shine a black light to find the leak. You can spray soapy water on suspected areas. If there is refrigerant leaking, the soap will bubble where the leak is happening. So again, leak detectors, UV dye, soapy water. I will add right here, if it's a really small leak and you just want to get through a certain period of time, you can refill the refrigerant yourself. I made a video right up here showing you how to do that. The last main reason you might not be getting cold air blowing through your vents is system blockage. And what I mean by that is a clog in your condenser, evaporator, or expansion device. Diagnosing this usually requires AC gauges, but there are some telltale signs. If the condenser is overheating or giving off a burning smell, if the expansion valve is cold but the evaporator isn't cooling, or if the AC line from the evaporator to the compressor feels warm, these all point toward a blockage in hoses or components. All right, so we talked about if your AC is blowing out but not cold, but what if it's cold and the temperature is fine, but the amount of air coming through is really weak or slow? There's really just two main troubleshooting options here. One, you have blower motor problems. A failing blower motor may stop air movement entirely since it's what pushes air through the system. Sometimes it only works at one speed, often the lowest, if the blower motor, resistor, or the switch has failed. If there's no movement at all, you can start by checking the fuse. If that looks fine, you then should check the resistor, then the switch, then the blower motor itself. A voltmeter can help a lot in this scenario. If it's not the blower motor, you can look at potentially a clogged cabin air filter. This is another very simple but common issue in a weak airflow. When your cabin air filter is clogged or blocked, airflow tends to drop. Your cabin air filter is a maintenance item that should be changed often. This keeps the cabin clean of debris, pollen, allergens, things like that. So wrapping up, when your AC generally is not working, it's usually because there's not cold air or the airflow is weak. Again, no cold air, you should check the compressor, your refrigerant levels, or system blockage. If the airflow is weak, you should look into blower motor problems or clogged cabin air filter. Some of these things can be tackled at a very DIY level. Other things, I encourage going to the mechanic and consulting a professional. Hopefully this was helpful. Thanks so much, guys. If you have any questions, want to see more videos like this, let me know. Until next time, see you later.